Hello and welcome to a 1v1 cast in Calderis Refinery. Starting off, we have Torpid playing as the Hive Tyrant on the blue side. Meanwhile, on the red side, we have Yaay playing as the Warp Spider Exarch. Both players so far going to go for fairly standard builds here. Spore Mines are going to be very strong at countering Banshees early on throughout the game. Meanwhile, Double Dire Avengers will need to focus them down before they're able to actually tie up those Banshees. Omegant's most likely going to be the side capping unit here throughout the game, while the Spore Mines can be used to actually protect these Termagants if they decide to push in together with the Hive Tyrant. And very interesting position here from the Warp Spider. Didn't even realise you could actually fit in behind this little gap here. But I'd imagine that is green cover and that melee units are going to be unable to actually access the Warp Spider here. Very strong position, very aggressive position as well here that other Warp Spider players and Mech Boys could potentially use in future games. They're able to take down a couple of Termagant, or only a single Termagant model so far, damaging the other models here. The Warp Spider does teleport away here, now going forward as victory point. I wonder if he teleported from, I'm not sure on the distance about that. We could definitely get close to that VP here, but the Termagant's going to try and tie up that Warp Spider. But he's going to be so effective at just bleeding down multiple models, being so irritating, and already the VP advantage because of this aggressive capping from the Warp Spider. Already 60 VP difference in this game. Yeah, you're going to be moving around here with some Dire Avengers. Do realise that the Homguns are on this left hand side and waiting for reinforcements with a second squad to actually handle these Homguns instead. Meanwhile, the Warp Spider still doing his thing, does not actually have enough energy for another teleport, so we'll need to reposition manually. He's 35 energy to teleport. So we'll see him teleport fairly soon as he is getting flanked by some Termagant. Spore Mines remain sitting next to them as well, and the Warp Spider will reposition once again behind some green cover. And these Spore Mines are already half health, will struggle to actually engage these Banshees in melee combat, let alone these Dire Avengers later on. Meanwhile, the Guardian Weapons team going to be coming out, and Torpid going to go for Raveners. Sometimes you do see Warriors come out here, but given it's the Hive Tyrant, he already does or can provide basic synapse. You normally see Raveners come out and instead in tier 2 have the Hive Tyrant cool down Warriors, since it is cheaper. At the same time, Banshees actually getting forced off their Raveners with the Burrow. Banshees retreating just in time before the Burrow knocked them back, but at the same time losing out and being able to kill that Jurassic farm. Spore Mines on retreat path, dealing full damage and able to take down a Banshee model. These Banshees will be in base for a little bit as they regenerate, as they're down to just a third of their HP. And the Warp Spider is back up to fighting strength once again. Will be coming out of base, be incredibly annoying, but already the VP pressure has set in still with 60 VP lead very early on here for Yaay. I'm sure both players are even considering going tier 2 at this point. And a lot of map control here for Yaay, in control of the one of the contested power farms and in control of the center of the map, while also pushing in towards Torpid's natural power farm. A lot of pressure onto Torpid at the moment. He is regrouped right now. The Spore Mine is going to be irrelevant, down to just 2 models at 61 HP. They do not regenerate, but Yaay getting a little bit caught. Here's these Double Dire Avengers are a little bit out of position. Homegant's going to come in from behind, and Ravener's going to push in against the Guardian Weapons team, I would imagine. There is a second one set up behind though, so Yaay will be able to keep onto the field by the looks of things. The Spore Mine's actually here, able to suppress the initial Guardian Weapons team, and the Hive Tyrant pushes in himself. Homegant's so going to get stopped in their tracks. The Warp Spider trying to do what he can, but Raven's going to be able to interrupt the second Guardian Weapons team here, and Yaay will be forced off. And this is what you want to do here with your Raveners, is try and knock the Guardian Weapons team towards your opponent, but Banshees going to be unable to get the Hive Tyrant there. The crippling poison at the last second is actually going to stop them in their tracks, and the Guardian Weapons team actually went down here. Yaay just down to a single Guardian Weapons team here. And the Warp Spider remains on the field to be as annoying as possible, but would get forced off here. Hive Tyrant very fortunate to actually live there, and very fortunate for Torpid to actually get a kill onto the Guardian Weapons team. But as I said, with your Raveners, you want to burrow slightly behind a setup team so that they push the setup team further towards your army, so that your army has a better chance of doing more damage, and you have a better chance of wiping the squad overall. A brood nest has been placed down, allowing Torpid to reinforce on the field, giving a small amount of health regen to nearby Tyranid units as well. The Guardian Weapons team positions itself to come in, but Ravenous are already with the burrow available. Ravenous against be engaging, knocking them towards the side. He always wants to go slightly behind. Banshees are on the field to actually help out here. These Homagons are taking... We're going to be able to do fairly well against the Banshees, but the special coming in at the same time. These Homagons are left abandoned against our Avengers. Torpid does need to pay attention to them. These Homagons are able to reinforce, and a couple of models are so far back that the Banshees are never going to be able to get them whatsoever. And the Raveners, without that burrow and letting the Guardian Weapons team to reset up like that, they will get forced off in the process. And the Termagants did actually go down. Torpid did forget about them. But the Hive Tyrant, though, with the extended carapace, is going to be engaging here, and the Guardian Weapons team will be able to get away. But those Raveners, when they did engage, I feel like they should have forced melee onto that Guardian Weapons team to not allow it to set back up in that engagement. And Torpid would have been able to push it a little bit further and would have been able to keep his Raveners on the field had they have just forced melee onto that Guardian Weapons team. But Torpid not going to be replacing that second set of Termagants though. Instead might just be opting for tier 3, not tier 3, for tier 2 at this point, but actually building some Raveners. I don't know if this is an Overwatch mistake or if he actually wants a second set of Raveners here. A second set isn't necessarily needed given that he's already got the first set to interrupt the Guardian Weapons team and also has the extended carapace onto the Hive Tyrant once again to interrupt the Guardian Weapons team. Raveners though are very strong against Eldar given that the Devour upgrade improves their melee damage, which improves their melee damage against Eldar units since they are only infantry. While at the same time the amount of range damage, the amount of piercing damage, once again very effective against infantry. But Torpid does actually commit, does actually get that second Ravener squad out. The problem is that he has spent so much power in tier 1, spending on 2 crippling poison or 2 toxin sac upgrades, cost them 30 power, another 15 power for these adrenal glands, another 25 for the extended carapace, and 55 power per Ravener squad, bringing his total well over 150 power spent in tier 2, or in tier 1, sorry. This means that Yaay potentially could just get out a very quick Falcon and be extremely punishing Torpid, who has no AV and will have no AV for quite some time, but instead opting for a Warp Spider squad being called in using the Warp Spider Global. But Yaay, without much requisition left in the bank, only on 38, is going to upgrade his Warp Spiders with the aspects of the Warp Spider, and most likely going to follow up with an Exarch. When you get the Exarch and you actually have the aspects of the Warp Spider Exarch for the squad does actually have improved weaponry such as a dual Death Gauge Spinner and Power Blades compared to the default weapon. Torpid now going to go tier 2 himself. But Yaay is actually able to push in quite aggressively here, capping all the VPs on the map for a triple cap right now. The VPs were fairly neutral between both players, given that they're both on 370 at that mark. But now the triple cap is going to hurt Torpid quite a bit here, and will bring Yaay back into the lead of VPs like he was much earlier on in the game. And Torpid going tier 2 could see a warrior call in, since he doesn't actually have any warriors at the moment. While we could also see the warriors get followed up by a Tyrant Guard, some super heavy infantry units to actually break lines. But at the same time, with double Raveners though, that's a lot of range damage, so we could see a Venom Brood as well come out for the ranged synapse just to improve the Raveners' damage and combat capability. Meanwhile, the Warp Spiders though, being very annoying as they are, I could also imagine some upgrades onto the Warp Spider Exarch, the improved Warp Generator, along with a weapon such as the Entangling Web, so the Hive Tyrant does not or cannot be allowed to charge into combat, along with the advanced targeters. Together, those upgrades bring the Warp Spider's range damage up to 51 DPS, going to be so effective at picking off these Termagant models, and even effective actually at picking off the Brood Nest itself. You can always position up onto the hill here behind some green cover, and the Warp Spider will be very safe at trying to take it out. In fact, these Warp Spiders right now kind of a little bit close here, taking a lot of burst damage from these Raveners, going to lose a model here. really wants to try and avoid losing those models. In particular, the capping has hurt Torpid so much. Torpid losing 100 VPs after that triple cap against him, and is continuing to lose VPs as he's unable to get control of mid. And it's going to be a Venom Brood to come out here, and straight away the ranged Synapse upgrade is going to come in. Torpid going for more of a heavier ranged army in comparison to a melee army. There's no surprise to see the Venom Brood out on the field right now. But these Warp Spiders though going in a little bit too far. Yeah, kind of very close to really fortunate to not lose the Exarch. And some very nice positioning on this Guardian Weapons team here from Yaay. As much as it does not have too much coverage, the Hive Tyrant is going to be unable to actually charge against that. There is actually a cooldowne coming in. It's going to be a Warrior drop. There's going to be a lot of improved Synapse here for Torpid with both the Venom Brood and Warriors. And I'd imagine the Adrenal Gland upgrade is going to come in onto these Warriors as soon as he can afford it here as well. Torpid going to be able to reclaim control of mid, and Warp Spider just on this cliff here, gain the advanced targeters, will be effective at picking off Ravener morals as well, since it is piercing damage against infantry armor. The Warp Spider though does need to be careful as all these melee units close the gap here. The Adrenal Glands upgrade has come in onto the Warrior Brood, improving their health, giving them heavy melee damage, and giving them improved Synapse compared to basic Synapse. But at the same time though, Yaay so low on requisition throughout this game. In fact, 56 requisition in the bank, 218 requisition income, matching Torpid's exactly at this point, but having this slightly higher power economy at +5 extra. For Torpid though, I'd say with the larger army on the map right now, Torpid's army is definitely scary. Venom Brood, Warriors, double Raveners, very expensive tier 1 units and tier 2 units here for Tyranids. The Hive Tyrant though very low right now, currently unupgraded, not doing too much damage in melee combat with his default weapon. Could see the Rending Talons to actually fight the Banshees to knock them away, allow the Warriors and Homogons to focus more onto the ranged squads instead. At the same time, could even see a Crushing Claw, or maybe he's waiting for a vehicle to come out so he can decide if he should go for the Venom Cannon or not. The Warp Spider is going to be teleporting around the map, able to kite down any kind of pure melee units. They're unable to actually do any damage to the Warp Spiders whatsoever with how quickly they're able to teleport, especially with the Exarch purchase. The Exarch does provide extra energy regen for the squad. The Warp Spiders with the crack shot though, maybe a little bit too aggressive in that teleport. The Homogons and the Warriors I feel like could have engaged those Warp Spiders if it went for the Banshees there, although with the Banshees there, that's what allows the Warp Spiders to go in so aggressively. The entire generator farm here for Yaay getting torn down. Venom Brood and Raveners with so much burst damage against little structures, generators. Grenade getting thrown down, a second grenade getting thrown down as well, but these grenades not actually doing too much. The Guardian Weapons team is well placed here. At the same time, might need to push up a little bit because it does not have the radius or the range, in fact, to attack the units. If Crackshot was available, it should have gone onto the Guardian Weapons team here, but a Venom Brood model going to go down there. Going to provide a Synapse bomb to actually force off these Raveners. In fact, these Termagants were just getting forced off even though they weren't actually part of that engagement. They actually backed away much earlier, and Torpid going to lose his generator farm as well, and Yaay taking up to tier 3. I feel like this is a mistake though. He does not have any power whatsoever. At plus 15, he will not be able to afford any tier 3 units or upgrades. Potentially the phase shift armor, but even then he doesn't have the red for an Eldritch, meaning that this tier 3 is right now a big mistake. He's spending all of the resources he has in his bank to go tier 3 and does not actually have anything coming in really to replenish it. I feel like Yaay should stay tier 2, go for a heavier tier 2. Torpid has no power, he will not be going tier 3 either, so the tier 3 advantage doesn't matter too much. Potentially a Wraith Lord or even a Falcon at this point could be quite brutal here for Torpid to actually deal with, given that Tyranids no longer have a snare. The only snare that they have are Rippers, which do slow vehicles by 3% per bite. These Dire Avengers getting really caught out here. Some grenades could be thrown down, but they're not actually available since they were only recently used in the engagement in this very same area, and that's going to be a dead Dire Avenger squad here. Insight less so now for either a Falcon or a Wraithlord, given that there's now less repair support for them. Yaay actually down quite a few models here, well, quite a few squads in fact, down to just 4 in comparison to Torpid's 6. Capillary Tower going to go down here. The entire map should be covered in Capillary Towers fairly soon if the game continues to last quite a while. The Warp Spider is also going to go down here. Yaay losing squad after squad here, but we're holding that VP advantage at 160 VPs to 360, and another Warp Spider calling. I feel like this is another mistake here for Yaay. He is tier 3, he should focus on a tier 3 unit as much as he does not have the power for it. Potentially even focus on phase shift armor with an Eldritch combination, since Torpid is fairly grouped up with his army a lot of the time. It'd be fairly easy to hit him hard with an Eldritch after a phase shift. But Yaay spending the majority of his red and the remainder of his requisition in fact on a Warp Spider call-in, while tier 3. So far tier 3 has not been worth it, as there's not actually been a single tier 3 upgrade or unit on the field. Potentially we could see the phase shift armor, but the Warp Spider has gone down. We could even see D-cannons later on to actually poke down Torpid's army, but Torpid, if getting hit by a D-cannon, will just force the engagement against Yaay and will force them back to base and will be able to take over more map control then. Yaay somehow still controlling the center of the map with the lesser army, I believe. 130 VPs to 364. Torpid will need to make his move now if he wants to prevent that VP bleeding, if he wants to remain in the game, because at this point he is giving away a lot of VPs and does not actually have room to give away that much more. Now that the warriors are here, I imagine the Hive, Tyrant and Raveners are going to be jumping into combat. NG shields dotted all over the place, and now the engagement begins. Warp Spiders though behind green cover, behind these energy shields in fact, going to remain fairly tanky, fairly protected. Dire Avengers getting forced off by these Homagons. These double Warp Spiders though not going to be able to remain on the field too long, especially while out in the open, and Banshees going to be able to do too much. That crushing claw on the Hive Tyrant, be able to pick away models like the Banshees are absolutely nothing. 108 heavy melee DPS from that crushing claw. 107 VPs now for Torpid, and is able to get a 2-to-1 cap against Yaay, but will have a long way to go at trying to catch up in terms of VPs. Yaay being 260 VPs ahead right now, and the Psychic Stream ability coming in for the Hive Tyrant reduces range damage of all nearby units by 25%, which is going to be quite painful. 25% debuff doesn't sound like too much, but when it's applied to your entire army, it makes a massive difference, especially when you hold a bigger army. In fact, it's actually 30%. I believe it was only 20%, but it's actually 30%, making it even more scary than what I had originally described. Dire Avengers, though, in risk of going down here, they're taking so many losses, but we'll be able to get away with surprisingly on 3 out of 6 models at 180 HP. The army of Torpid just going around as one big blob. Yaay will need to split around the map here. The Warp Spider has been repurchased and still remains in control of 2 Warp Spider squads. With that much mobility, should try and focus on getting Torpid to split his army and try and win these smaller engagements onto the side instead. But still, tier 3 and without any tier 3 units or models, I do believe that Yaay does regret going tier 3 at this point. It has been of no benefit to him at this point. The Warp Spider going to be teleporting in very aggressively here, but the melee arm going to be engaging underneath all this pipework. I'm going to move the camera here so you can actually see what's going on. The Bloody Weapons team is going to do quite a nice job here, but the Raveners going to be engaging the Psychic Stream. The Banshees unable to do too much, and up to stand against that mass melee army counterpart of Torpids. And Warp Spiders do remain in green cover, but the Raveners, the second set, going to be burrowing here. These Warp Spiders not retreating away, need to teleport right away. If they try and retreat through these Gene Stealers, it's going to be incredibly painful, but are able to teleport and get away. Otherwise that would have been a squad down, another squad would have potentially gone down for Yaay. But still, the Warp Spider Exarch remains on the field, going to go for a decap onto the natural, but Torpid way ahead has already decapped Yaay's natural. A 2-0 cap will definitely mean that Torpid can catch up to the VPs quicker. Brood Nest though remains on the field, along with capillary towers littering the area here for that improved speed, among other benefits. Water Spider actually cancels going for the VP here, actually tries to go for the Brood Nest instead. It is fairly healthy right now, although down below a third health here, the Warriors are going to try and engage, and wow, 1 HP on the Brood Nest. The Water Spider unable to actually finish it off, really needs to retreat away, cannot afford to lose him again with the low amount of requisition that is stored up for Yaay at only 260. It still has 55 power, could potentially see a D-cannon, will not see anything else, could even save for a Seer Council. But I'm not sure how well Seer Council will do against Torpid's army composition. Potentially a Fire Prism would be the best choice with its long range and with how Torpid is grouping up his army. The dispersed beam from the Fire Prism could prove quite dangerous. But Fire Prism does cost 135 power. Yaay will need to invest into a little bit of a generator farm, like a power node and a single generator, just to improve his economy to actually afford one, but instead decides to opt for another Guardian Weapons team to actually try and control Torpid's army. If Yaay wasn't spending so much red on Crackshot every so often, then I believe an Eldritch with a phase shift armor would be in question. As it stands, we will not actually see any of that at this rate. Yaay spending so much red throughout the game on Crackshot, costing 75 red each time. So many melee units surrounding these Dire Avengers. If it's not for the suppression of that Guardian Weapons team, that squad would have most likely been dead. But Ravenel is going to be quickly dealing with it. There's a second Guardian Weapons team here, but I'm not sure they're going to be able to set up in time. In fact, everyone just retreats back to base here for Yaay. 107 VPs to 191. The VPs getting much closer together now. Torpid able to close that gap, bringing the gap down from 260 down to just 90 at this point. Water Spider though will need to be a bit careful out in the field by himself, especially if the Warriors get the knockback against him. They will all jump onto him at the same time, knocking him back 3 times, or will knock him back as many times as possible. He's on the floor, can't be knocked back any further. So we'll need to be very careful. Water Spider's coming in as well for some support. Crackshot getting used once again, so we're definitely not going to see an Eldritch this game at this rate. But the Water Spiders with Crackshot still unable to actually poke down. They do not have the range to make use of it. Yaay is going to be pushing in here. I feel like a super heavy infantry unit such as Tyrant Guard here could be really painful, but Torpid's actually tier 3, actually looks like he's saving up for the resources to go for either a Swarm Lord or a Carnifex, more than likely a Carnifex, and more than likely going to be a Thornback variant. As much as there are 2 Water Spiders with Haywire grenades and 2 Guardian Weapons teams, the Carnifex is so tanky, it's going to be very difficult for Yaay to deal with, and if he's dealing with the Carnifex, then he's unable to deal with the other units on the field. If he gets a Bright Lance, he's unable to or doesn't have a second unit for suppression, that's less control of Torpid's army, and the Carnifex can just act as a massive meat sponge for Torpid instead. The Hive Tyrant going to be jumping in here, able to use a Psychic Stream while on the move. Banshee's going to be engaging Homagons here, but the Banshees aren't going to lose by the looks of it. They're taking a lot of damage. Banshee's really needing a special to actually win that little engagement up there. The rest of the army is forced off. The Banshees are going to go away here as well. Potentially going to lose another model here, but the Exarch remains alive, and the Water Spider has also gone down in this engagement once again, so definitely no phase shift armor here. It was even in the purchase of buying the Entangling Web as well, so that's resources they're lost once again for Yaay. 107 VPs to 127 is going to be very difficult for Yaay to actually push back out base. Really needs to try and make some sort of play like a phase shift Eldritch, and I keep repeating it, but Torpid is so grouped up here in situations like this where the units are so close together, and Eldritch could be absolutely devastating, can definitely turn the tide of the game if you're able to wipe 2 squads or more at this point. And she's trying to do what they can, but the double Raveners with the knockback and the Banshees and Water Spiders are able to actually dodge it. It proves quite difficult, and G-Stealers as well. Going to be able to destroy Banshees in melee combat with their higher melee skill if they sit next to these warriors, and at the same time, if they turn on their Adrenal Rush, they can actually heal on attack. going to be incredibly difficult. Warriors though kind of neglected at this point here, losing 2 models. Torpid realizes though and decides to retreat him back to base to reinforce to full models, and the Carnifex is now coming out of base. And I do imagine that it will be a fawn back Carnifex to actually lead the charge to be another line breaker against Yaay's army. It could also be a Barb Strangler Carnifex in the sense that it can try and catch out the Warp Spiders, but Warp Spiders able to teleport around the map fairly quickly, can easily dodge the shot of a Barb Strangler Carnifex. It does become a bit more difficult if the Barb Strangler Carnifex is able to fire again for a second time and your teleport is still off cooldown from dodging the first one. But still, I think it's going to be a fawn back Carnifex. But Yaay so low on VPs actually, I didn't realise that the VPs had gone down that low, but down to just 38. Is going to try and make it a triple cap fairly soon, but the Carnifex is out on the field. Currently no upgrade on that Carnifex just yet. The VP is now getting fairly close, 95 to 38. Yaay barely struggling to hold on and remain in this game. Warp Spiders down to just 2 models here. Do retreat just in time to avoid those Raveners. And Yaay, without any Guardian Weapons team set up here, looks like he's going to be unable to hold this central area. One squad forced off, the Adrenal Rush getting used onto these Gene Stealers. Warp Spiders trying to teleport defensively here, but ultimately the Raven is going to interrupt that second Guardian Weapons team, and Yaay will be forced off here. 76 VPs to 38. Yaay will probably have another push here to try and regain control of mid. But if Yaay's unable to actually successfully get mid, it will be game for him as the VPs are just a little bit too low. Banshee's not even fully reinforced here, only on 4 out of 5 models. And Yaay is already starting to push back out of base. There is a Warp Spider coming in for a flank, for a potential capture onto the natural Torpids here. He needs to maybe not try and reveal himself here. I feel like if he was to just remain hidden for as long as possible and then go in at the same time, Yaay would have a better chance of pulling this off, but instead it looks like the Warp Spider is going to be acting as bait here as the army decides to focus him down. Carnifex is going to remain next to that VP though, and Yaay is pushing in his army further in towards mid. The Warp Spider though again get caught out here. The melee army counterpart on retreat decides to tear him a new one. Dire Avenger is going to go in for the cap here, but quickly bursted down and dealt with. Warp Spider is going to try and go for that Brood Nest, going to be unsuccessful, and Yaay calls GG, and that's going to be game. The Haywire Grenade not even doing too much damage to that Carnifex, and looks like I was right, it does turn out to be a fawn back Carnifex. I do feel like Yaay made the big mistake of taking up to tier 3 without a Jerry's of Fun, without the economy to support a tier 3. And spent a lot of resources just actually taking up. I was unable to keep up with a tier 2 from Torpid, and Torpid did wait until he had enough resources and then teched up at the correct time, and also was able to get himself another generator so he could actually afford to get out a tier 3 unit and tier 3 upgrades, for example. But that is going to be game.